So what do you tell people who say like, oh, you should totally make those and sell
Oh
them?
my gosh. That's a pretty common
Yeah,
pretty common refrain.
yeah.
And I just know that it's one thing. It's kind of like, as a software engineer, I could cobble together a script that will do a thing,
Mhm.
but to put that into production and get that into people's hands is a different
Yeah.
exercise entirely. And I think it's like the same with hardware, but 10x. Like I can't even begin to. I mean, it takes just for this one ring, it takes me like a long time. I mean, we're gonna make
Yeah.
one today, so we can see how long it takes. But to
Ooh,
make
we
something
could
like this at scale,
yeah, we could try to put an equivalent retail price on it
yeah, there we
for our time.
go.
Yeah.
That would be really fun. But yeah, I feel like, I just don't it would have to be something really, and like honestly, I kind of have the luxury to not like productionize it at the
Yeah.
moment because it's a hobby. Um,
Yep.
so I'm kind of just leaning into the fact that it's a super fun thing that I get to do, and I don't there's a certain hesitance in putting pressure on it in terms of monetizing it
Mhm.
because I am afraid of like spoiling it for myself almost. Although that's
Total
not
yeah.
always going to be the case, right? Like I think there's a lot of people who like do the thing that they love, and it makes them, it's like a sustainable sort of lifestyle. But it's scary. It's a scary sort of thing to think about.
Definitely, and it's a big deal to turn a hobby into work too, and
Yeah.
I have definitely seen people, like, lose the enjoyment then that they used to get out of it.
Yeah.
So,
But it's also not guaranteed, right? Like, I
yeah.
think there's also a world where both is true. Like you see like the negative parts of it, but then you also experience like all the positive sort of highs with that.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just missing out on that too. I don't know.
It's different, right? It's
Yeah.
very different. It's still stressful, it's just a different set of stresses, and there are still things that are wonderful about, like, the 2, about, like, work or making a hobby your work, but,
Yeah.
yeah, they're just different.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure you know how that experience goes.
Yeah, I've done it a few times with both results. Like the when I dyed yarn for a little while and was actually like doing yarn shows and going on the road and having booths at these different yarn festivals and stuff. And
Wow.
yeah,
Yarn festivals. It's a whole world that I
oh, it's yeah.
have not yet seen.
They're they're pretty cool. There are different ones. I think the ones that I like the best are the ones where there are also fiber animals that you can actually see, and like, yeah, fleece judging shows are really
Whoa.
interesting because you like at the end after they've judged them all, you get to go around and just like paw all everything. Yeah.
Pawing, no cuddling though.
Yeah. Well,
Even though you really want to.
but yeah, it's I didn't like I didn't like the dying enough for it to kind of for in order to, like, do what I would have had to have done in order to make it work.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's good. I feel like the fact you couldn't have known that until you have gone through that journey,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And I
And it
think
was
that's
a
like
great break from engineering because I was super burned out on it, and then after I took a break for a little while, I totally kind of got back into it and got a lot more enjoyment, out of it, kind of doing it on my own terms. So,
wow.
it's super yeah, it was good. It was a good break even though financially it was not good.
Ugh, that's always the case. That's
Yeah,
always the eternal struggle, isn't it? But that's
yeah.
crazy. I feel I have so much respect for you and the fact that you went through that journey because that's an adventure.
It was definitely adventure. I don't know, I still feel like the adventure is somewhat ongoing.